Hungary, Romania, some of these places is awful. People are could be this guy, the Jay Bhattacharya, another one of these great Indians who have been put in their administration. He's an interesting fellow. He's not political at all, but he came out with some stances against the lockdowns early that made the left cancel him. A great doctor, but he's going to be the chief of all of the National Health Institute for Trump. But, I saw Jay. He was saying that the lockdowns are the cause of the.
Oh, really?
Not just the fertility, but the death. Yeah. Another big question is there's excess deaths keep occurring after the COVID went away. More people are dying than usual. A lot more people.
How does he make that case? Sorry, Mom.
He makes the case that there was not any health. Number one, everyone had poor diet, a lot of weight gain, and poor health during the COVID. Number two, they didn't have any health maintenance. No one had any appointments. No one did any screening that they usually do. And then the depression, loneliness, and all of these second order effects that happened because of lockdown. He says that that's caused the excess deaths. I mean, I worry that a lot of it is spike protein. I think it's a hard case to make, but he makes a pretty good case, a reasonable one, that the lockdowns are the key killer. Lockdowns have killed more people than COVID, essentially.
How would you evaluate the quality of the Indian vaccine, Moral?
Well, the experience is different there because of the sunlight. It's a different climate. Generally, like in Africa, it didn't kill that many people at all, despite no vaccine. India, did fine until that Delta strain, right? And then all hell broke loose. For a brief moment, for a summer, I think, with the oxygen crisis. But after that wave, everyone just got back to business and did fine. I feel like that there's natural immunity there because of the thin Indian, lack of a cigarette. Bottom line, the Indians are thinner, and COVID tends to kill fatter. And Indians are in a hot sunlight, which is also against the COVID virus. And so the vaccine efficacy is hard to judge for India in terms of how much did it help. I don't know if it helped at all, to be honest with you. Because by the time you guys got vaxxed, the Delta was already had run through and killed everybody it was going to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't have 3-4 bouncing waves of COVID deaths like we did here.
Right. You
guys just had the one big spike, the Delta. None of these later waves killed anybody anywhere, basically vaxxed. Because the virus continued to mutate and become weaker and weaker. So by the time after India gets through its trouble, the virus isn't killing that many people around the world. But the efficacy of Covaxin compared to the others seems to be good, and I think that BioNTech was like a big part of the Pfizer product, right? I think the Indian lab, and there's Bharat, and so I think, yeah, I wish I could have gone back and just not taken those shots. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I would have taken the Indian one's not mRNA, right? The Covaxin.
Yeah. Both AZ, although AZ is not Indian, as you know, but they got it done in India. And then the other one, I forget the name.
Was Bharat or something like that?
Yeah, Bharat Biotech. Yes, thank you. And I guess Both of them are non-mRNA. As a technology, would you say mRNA was a problem now looking back?
100%, without a doubt. It was well called out by the Sam Malone, one of the inventors of mRNA. A lot of people were calling out the problem. It works on paper, great, but what if this gets out into your DNA? What if this gets out into your other tissue? Oh, no, it'll stay in your arm, and then it's not going to go anywhere. The spike proteins don't go anywhere. They do the animal models. The spike protein has gone throughout the body. It's a fucking mess, dude. They said, no, if you're pregnant, get it. It'll help your baby. You had miscarriage rates go out the roof. And they act like they don't know what happened. There's no way to prove it is the problem. It's just retarded hysteria is the only benign way you could look at it. I just can't, I don't think that's possible with it. It seems completely coordinated. One of their main goals is depopulation. I mean, the thesis, the strength of the theory is very strong, in my view. And I lean towards the election of 2020 being the key motives they had. Number two, depopulation. At first, I thought it's just to kill off the older Medicare Americans because these poor fellows they're not working anymore. They don't make any money. They just sit in the nursing home. But when you do the numbers, it's not enough money to do something like that. Just to save $50 billion or $100 billion, it would never be worth this. Each Medicare person would cost roughly $350K to the U.S. government. So even if you kill 1 million of those people, it's not worth that much a figure. So I took that off the table myself. But yeah, the Malthusian economists, these people have been very influential. They've been very influential in America. They've been very influential since the 70s for a lot of these climate change people and the environmentalists. They believe Gaia, Mother Earth, and we must live in harmony. And we're over the number of the harmonious number. We're choking Mother. And there's no solution. What other solution do you have? And it's mainstream, essentially, by these Davos people. If you read their curriculum every year, it's available. Every time, it's the same shit. Sustainable, equity, inclusion. Let's make sure that we go through in the world and we're all equitable. Get our population down. So,
communism.
Yeah.
America is, we like to think we're the greatest, but America came out of Europe. So there is this psychological connection where, one of my last days at this important meeting, somebody was like, we got to be really careful of the WEF, and so people here in America in leadership positions are very concerned about the WEF and their influence in this country. But basically Bill Gates, I mean, that's the thing. It's like we're still connected to Europe. I mean, even by familial lineage. So whatever Davos and WEF and these large, basically organizations which are think tanks and operators, conspirators, I mean, it's real. So if you're an American, you like your liberty, your freedom, your independence, and not being manipulated by external, powers. But it really is a global world now. I mean, it's 2025. I mean, it's all connected.
Clubhouse was amazing, by the way. There's some of the real pioneers in this. Pierre Corey, he's a doctor, Koury. He was on here. And then this other guy who was so spicy, who went on the Bread White Seed show, he was on here all the time. Some of the, his name's evading me, but one of the first people to show the spike protein went into the tissues. This is pretty early on. The doctor's saying, look, you can give hydroxychloroquine, you can give ivermectin. These were used in the lab against the original strain of SARS and seemed to work. Okay, let's try that on the patients. And so there's this big battle for information going on in 2020 and 2021. So there's a lot of arguing on here and trying to figure out what's going on, looking through the information carefully for a couple of years. And
yeah, and you got Dr. Copeland, an army captain who's delivering vaccines to combat positions in Afghanistan, screaming at everybody here to get their Zavs. So, and now it turns out
you had the other transplant doctor, who was the Dr. Priya, unbelievable propagandist. So you got people on here that are saying, if you don't get vax, you should die. You should not even be in the hospital. I deserve to be in the hospital, not you.
Noam Chomsky said, if you don't get the Zav, you should be starved. You shouldn't be allowed in the grocery store. You shouldn't be allowed in restaurants. And so I don't know if you follow Noam Chomsky, but he's on YouTube creating new videos, even in his late 90s, mumbling and stumbling and talking about how the world is falling apart. It's like, no, you're falling apart. We're all falling apart.
Well, it's simple. Basically, they could have said, look, guys, make an informed decision. Do what you'd like. But as doctors, we suggest you take this vaccine. That would be the proper way, but it was anything but that. It was a hysteria about the misinformation. We started using new words, plural. We invented a word called misinformation. And that wasn't good enough. We invented the word malinformation. Disinformation has been used before. But misinformation and malinformation are fucking new words. Malinformation is my favorite of all the words. It means a true information that you use in a crooked way. Malinformation. It's absolutely from one of these fucking George Orwell 1984 dystopian novel. So it was there was a time to battle for it, and then now Trump's in charge. The time is for him to do what he needs to do.
See, the thing, he was the president in March of 2020 when this broke. And, do you think he ever looked at Fauci and looked at Dr. Birx and looked at everybody who was coming to him? Don't you think he was ever second guessing? I mean, he couldn't fire them. He couldn't stop them.
There's already reports of all of this, of Peter Navarro coming in with a stack of papers and slamming it on the table. So, yeah, Trump has a lot of pit bulls on his side who are being much more vocal than I am, or you could be. They were yelling at Fauci in the face. Navarro said, "You're a fucking liar. You're a fucking liar, Anthony," like that, right to his face, over the travel bans. Remember, we were trying to keep the planes, trying to ban the travel, and Fauci was against it. So, yeah, this is an ongoing thing. Why did he let them go forward with vax if they're bad for us? That's the question we'll have. But maybe he didn't figure it out until later. He took it himself, supposedly, anyway. So, and plus he doesn't want to say this vax is evil. It will cause a vax hesitancy for all other vaccines. It will cause problems with other diseases. But now that we've got RFK, we can get the unnecessary vaccines out. They've always been causing trouble here. Vaccines have done more trouble than good in America for a long time, plural. Because of autism and behavioral issues. But we don't get the simple, good vaccine schedule like India. It's like a goddamn all-you-can-eat buffet. It's like 30 shots. They used to be filled with mercury, each shot, way over the toxic limits. And they're wondering why, they did ban some of those substances, but still they put aluminum they need to have something that irritates your body and makes a reaction. So they put some metal. Yeah, it's you need to have Jay Bhattacharya in charge. Then we get a new schedules with RFK and Jay. Simplified, good vaccines for all the people. Boom. That's all. Everybody, everybody can unite on that. So, fluoride out of the water. That's a controversial one, but red food dyes out of the food. Toxic products out of the food. Raw milk will be allowed. Direct farmer milk will be allowed. A lot of great ideas from RFK. He's a genius. He's been doing this like so much longer than. There are so many young doctors, they'll come like this 30, 35. RFK's a fool. RFK's a fool. This guy's been working on healthcare issues since before the young doctor was born. RFK's 70. He looks young when he's 70. And he's been fighting for a clean environment and for the health of kids for a long, long time, since the 80s, very openly. So he deserves it more than anybody that's been put forward in the cabinet. It's amazing, really. The healthcare system here is fucked. Everybody's got chronic illness, and nobody's got. Everyone just takes a bunch of shots and is sick.
Morel, Adrian, Carol, how you guys doing? I'm Ragnar.
Hey, Ragnar. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. What's that?
Sorry,
It's a little bit of a bummer, but I'm
sorry, Ragnar. How are you keeping, bro?
Good. And what about yourself, brother?
Top of the world, no complaints.
Did you know it was my birthday a few days ago?
No, I had no idea. Happy birthday. Belated.
You're good. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, and it was so much fun. Celebrated it like it was the last day of my life.
Good.
Yeah. So what are you guys talking about? The next great mind.
Well, I'm just tuning in at that point.
What's that?
Moran was speaking about the vaccine travesty, the tragedy that vaccines were. And I'm just tuning in.
On my views on COVID, how they've changed from when it started. It's been a long road. How much I love RFK. I was thinking of driving tomorrow morning to DC for the hearings.
Oh, I see.
Maybe one of the greatest moments in American history about to happen, plural.
Oh, yeah.
Get this guy in.
Tell me about it.
RFK Jr.
Yeah.
So he's a Democrat. He has great qualities. They've tried to push him out for a long time. And he's basically against the corporations and for the health of the country, like nobody else you've ever seen.
Sounds good.
He's extremely anti-war and anti-military complex.
That's awesome.
He's just a great guy.
I'm sold.
Yeah. Do you know Augustus on here? Do any of you guys know Augustus?
Augustus on Clubhouse?
Yeah. UFO rooms, kind of crazy rooms.
I met him in Miami. I hung out with him for a week or a weekend.
Nice. Yeah, he's a stand-up guy, man. Who could have thought? I used to yell at him. I said, RFK's a plant. He's trying to hurt Trump. Fuck RFK, right? And then he said, no, man, he's with Trump. Wait and see. I'm like, bullshit, Augustus. Bullshit. Look out. The first thing I did when they announced, I found him on here. I said, man, no apology. So,
have any of you guys met any people on Clubhouse? Like in real life?
Yeah, the guy that Morel's talking about, he had a room here called, it was called preservation of the human race. And so, he was doing the marketing campaign with his now fiance and working on Kennedy's campaign. And it's just, Morel, isn't it amazing how the stars align? It really is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a little bit out there with the UFO stuff, and at the same time, we all, with the Prashant and these guys' rooms, they may be on a different trip, but at the end of the day, everyone is the same pro-America, pro-health of the nation. I think that's...
Pro-America, pro-health of the
Well,
nation.
Morel, I think the best way to look at it is whether you choose to talk about Jesus 24/7 or you talk about UFOs 24/7. It is your chosen art. It is how you want to represent or create content. And if people take it literally and they can't see that it's art, well, they don't understand art.
Good word again. Yeah, like I've been thinking a lot about that stuff recently.
What have you been thinking about?
No, arts and but also messages.
Go ahead. Tell us what you've been thinking about.
Okay. Because
or are you just going to interrupt and troll, Ragnar?
What are you saying that, Moran? Why do you think
keep
that?
trolling, I'll throw you down to the audience. Would you like that?
I mean,
I think you'd like that. Yeah, Augustus is a really legit guy, but it took me for, RFK to jump on board to understand that this was probably planned all along. You know what I mean, Adrian? I believe now fully that this was planned for him to jump across like that. But Augustus has said they're going to meet up at about 8 a.m. The doors open at 1. So they're going to get
You should go. I mean, go.
It's a 4.5 hour drive. It's
We'll try to bring somebody with you. If you know of a good friend of yours, take a good friend of you. You'll need a battle buddy there.
Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll go find Augustus and introduce myself. I'll just stand there in line with the magats, the mahats. And I was thinking I may wear. I don't know if they have a strict. The dress code is what I'm trying to look up, but I figured it would look good if I wore my lab coat.
I don't know. You'll be calling attention to yourself if you wear a lab coat.
Yeah, you're not supposed to call attention to yourself. Is that fair to? I've never seen anyone do it before, but since it's for the health secretary position, it would be maybe outrageous since I'm not in my.
Bring it. I mean, I bet you'll get introduced.
Yeah, well, I thought it would be a good prop essentially. If I can make my way in, it'd be a hell of a prop to just be sitting there with the scrubs and the lab coat, and my overcoat would fit over top of all of that and look professional. It would look legal enough to get into the building.
The thing about
and then a white coat underneath, basically.
Well, I wouldn't worry so much about how you look. I'd be more concerned about security threats at that event because Kennedy literally is like the conjunction, he has got to be the most dangerous. He's got to be because you're talking about collective of trillions of dollars in market cap.
Yeah.
So many people want him to disappear as if he never even existed. I mean, I don't want to bring up negativity, but he comes from a family that continually keeps getting shot down because they keep saying things that you can't say. There was something, some article I saw where it was like during Bush's administration, there was some press conference and some documentation going into the pandemic response, emergency response plan. And that documentation that came out showed that Fauci and CDC and NIH and Big Pharma were essentially pandemicking. And, and then basically, I mean, it was the perfect moment. I read something also that it was going to happen even prior, um, but they weaponized it, to bring down the Trump administration, and the whole thing was going to happen even prior to Clinton taking over. So, if you don't understand that this whole thing was engineered from beginning to end, but the response is the ending, which is the Zavanation, and
Well, that's
that's
where yeah, that's where the actual horseshoe bat virus and which bat and what cave it come out of. It does make it'll help you give you clarity on that with the time frame. Because it has to be post SARS one, so it could have been done years ago under Clinton's not accurate. As prior to SARS one, well, it's right around SARS one, but SARS one came out of these bats. Then they go in and capture bats in the Hunan province and grab the backbone of the COVID. They run that through rodents, make different changes and make it more effective, 100 a series until they get one that really pops. And you add little cleavage sites in the areas that you want to be more powerful, which are particularly the binding site for how it binds. You were asking the question, how the hell did it spread so quickly? Well, they juiced it at the binding site. And so for the train of events for that to happen, that bitch Xi Zhengli for her to get her hands on the bats and then start running through animals, that started under Fauci, Project Diffuse. Right after Obama gets out, Obama makes a ban on gain of function research, and Fauci pushes that project over to China. Because the mRNA, also mRNA, only got invented later. After so just to give you some dates, I think it was 2016 or something like that, 14, 16, and then it started getting used much later than that. So yeah, it was planned to be done eventually anyway. I can agree with that.
See what I'm saying is like for having no experience in this
The time frame's a
whatsoever.
little later.
I just don't think people realize how big the business has been. Like I know big tech and I know how big Microsoft and Amazon and Microsoft and Apple, but prior to the emergence of big tech, like big pharma was like the big tech of our time, and say what you want about it, but it's like 30 injections for a baby. What the fuck? I'm telling you, this culture, the society, like we are a bunch of terminators. I don't know what's wrong with us, but we love to seem to terminate.
What you're going to see now is people are going to get depressed over it because they're just not finding out about this. The regulars, which is unbelievable to me, that they had their head in the sand this whole fucking time, and they need this the news channel to come and tell them last week. It's my dad's similar. My dad's one of the smartest doctors you ever met. He's incredibly high IQ and a high street IQ too. But you've already set your life believing the Wall Street Journal and believing the trusted sources. You can't break that trust later.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Like I followed that guy AG Huff, and so like Augustus and I kept trying to get AG Huff to come on Clown House because he's basically a whistleblower. I don't know. You can look him up on X. He has a book. It's called The Truth About Wuhan: How I Uncovered the Biggest Lie in History. Dr. Andrew G. Huff, former EcoHealth Alliance VP, senior scientist. Seems like a straight shooter to me. So he was like big in breaking this, but really the whole thing is Kennedy because he is the subject matter expert and he organized all this and his whole campaign. I mean, it's just again like stars aligning, but it's very dangerous because if there's assassinations, then not only does that validate conspiracy or at least, inflame it, and it's
Look,
like
he's got Secret Service protection at this point, and he is going to be in the heart of the Senate chambers of the administrative building. So I can't imagine something's tried in D.C. But you will have probably fake supporters coming in and you know, you get people dragged out of there protesting.
Those are always entertaining. And I gotta say, I like the anti-war ones, but even they are cooked. Like everybody's cooked, you know? Like I'm telling you, the events of 9/11, like fucking George Bush, and his father. I don't know what the fuck, you know? Like I understand, but like anyways, the
Yeah,
whole
that's not going to get declassified, unfortunately. And Epstein Island also, they'll keep all of that secret until everyone's out of office.
well, if
We
what my
got
dad.
a ton of guys. We got a ton of guys we need to vote, like Lindsey Graham, that are sitting there. We
Yeah.
need him in place.
My dad, I texted my dad texted me something surprising. He's like, after Trump won, he's like, I really want to find out who killed Kennedy.
Yeah.
So like, if you were of that age,
Everyone good wants to know that.
well, I mean, I texted my dad. I said the things that I read is that you see a lot of conspiracy with regards to Israel and LBJ, or you see things about the mafia or the CIA, but a lot of it seems to have to do with the Federal Reserve and the CIA. But Kennedy, when he went,
It's probably just all of the above.
yeah,
Is probably the answer.
but Kennedy went on the Bill Maher podcast, and Kennedy is so dynamic, when you listen to Trump, Trump is like a comedian. Have you ever seen a stand-up comic do the same performance twice and you're like, oh, this is a waste of my time?
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is Kennedy is so hyper dynamic, so
No, he's like
engaging.
a lawyer speaking to another lawyer.
Exactly.
He speaks properly.
Yep. So the powers that be, they have a lot to lose and a lot to fear here, and other senators are keen, but the lies and anyways. Everything is well here. I hope you have a great day, Morel. It's been great chatting with you.
Yeah, you too.